Hello friends, Big Mike here, back at the tying bench. Today I'm going to tie a bass popper. This is a topwater popper. The hook I use for this fly is a wide gap. Oh, I forget the number. Let me look it up. It's a Mustad 37187 in size 10. You see it's got this extra wide gap on it. So we're going to secure that in our vise. And we're going to lay down a little thread base. We're going to come back, work it back up, snip off the excess. And then we're going to whip finish. Five, six, seven. We're going to cut that off. Now, we're going to attach this hard foam popper body. You see it's got a groove cut into it here. And in that groove, we're going to put that hook shank. But before we do, we're going to put us a little bit of super glue on top of that thread. The reason we laid that thread base down is it helps the everything stick together. And we're going to line the hook shank up with that slit, and we're going to push it on there and then straighten it up like that. Then I turn the fly over, get it aligned properly. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take our thin hard UV epoxy and we're going to fill up that crack, that gap with this epoxy. And take our UV light and cure it. Only takes a few seconds. Now we've got our hook with our popper body on it. At this point, I've usually tied up several of these, and I go to my paint table and I'll paint it whatever color I want. This batch is going to be chartreuse. So I've already painted this one. So I'll put it in the vise. Tighten her down real nice. We're going to start our thread behind the body. Work back to the hook point. and then work back up to the bottom. Snip off the excess. Now the tail, for the tail on these poppers, I like to use these silicone legs. Much like the material that you find on spinnerbait bodies. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get 4 of these legs. Let's see, that was 5, that's 4. Snip those off. And we'll take all 4 of them in a bunch. Lay it across the top of my hook shank and wrap the thread around it a couple times. I also want to add some flash. For that we're going to use material called crystal flash. Comes in a long strand. I'm going to fold that strand in half. Cut it. Then find the middle of those 2 pieces. And we'll lay it across the hook shank. Take a couple wraps on there. Now we're going to take all this material and we're going to fold it to the rear. And we're going to tie it down. Then we're going to trim all this to length. I like it extending back a little further than the length from the front of the hook, front of the popper body to the hook. I want that length plus a little more in the back. So we trim it off like that. Next step, we're going to put a collar in here to fill up this gap. For that, we're going to use chartreuse hackle feather. This is just a chicken feather that's been dyed a chartreuse color. So we'll take a nice one here, hold it by the tip, kind of splay it out. We're going to set that tip against the hook shank. Tie it in real well. Bringing the thread back up to the back of the popper body. Now we're going to palmer or wrap that hackle around the hook shank. To do that, we use this little hackle pliers. Helps you hold on to the hackle. This hackle's a little long. I'm going to move my pliers back up, snip off that tail end. It'll make it easier to work with. There we go. Now we just keep wrapping that around. Being careful to wrap in the opposite direction that you've wrapped your thread. That helps when you come to tie the hackle down, you get a much more secure tie-in. So we spiraled that hackle all the way up to the back end of the popper body. And we're going to tie it down. Take your thread, bring it under your hackle pliers and over the top. Under and over. Under and over. Holding your thread out of harm's way, snip off the rest of that hackle. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and whip finish. One, two, three, four, five, six, get a little more thread through there. 7. Snip off our thread. Now we're going to coat this with some bone dry. It's a thin epoxy. We're going to coat the threads. That way when we cure that epoxy with our UV light, that epoxy will harden up and those threads will never come untied. Okay, it appears we have some hackles that have gotten hung up in here, so we're just going to snip those off. Trim that up so it looks nice and neat. Okay, one more step. For this, we're going to play with fire. We're going to turn the fly right side up. I'm going to take my bodkin and my lighter. I'm going to heat that bodkin up. Just about to the point it's starting to glow orange. With a steady hand, I'm going to punch a hole all the way through that foam body. Then I'm going to take my bobbin threader and I'm going to push it through that hole. Oop, looks like my hole might have closed back up on me. No, here we go. Now, I'm going to take 2 more of those silicone legs. Slip them down through my bobbin threader like that and pull them through that foam body, through the hole. Then you see you end up with this little loop. I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And now we want to even these out both sides, so both sides will be pretty even. Okay. So you can see what we've got. Got these little arms coming off both sides. You turn this back. Now what we want to do is we're going to kind of fill up that hole that we just made. To do that, we're going to take our thin hard epoxy and just put a little squirt in that hole. Take our UV light, hit it for a few seconds. Turn the fly over. Do the same thing on the other side. A few seconds with the UV light and that'll harden up. Now those things are in place. They're not going to go anywhere. And that, my friends, is the Big Mike's Bass Popper. See, we got a wide gap here so you can get a good hook bite. Got all these silicone legs out the back, out the sides. You throw it out there and let it sit. Give it a little twitch. These legs just wobble in the water. A bass finds it irresistible. And like all of my other flies, they're available at Big Mike's Jigs and Flies. www.bmjigs.com. Check it out. You might see something you like. At any rate, give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. Until next time, tight lines.